Is there a point where index funds theoretically can't work? Of course. If everybody bought nothing but index funds, the whole world wouldn't work as people expect. One of the reasons you buy a big index, like the S&P, is because if you buy a small index and it gets popular, it's a self-defeating situation. When the Nifty 50 were the rage, JP Morgan talked everybody into buying just 50 stocks. And they didn't care what the price was, they just bought those 50 stocks. And of course, in due time, their own buying forced those 50 stocks up to 60 times earnings, whereupon it broke and everything went down by about 2/3 quite fast. In other words, if you get too much faddishness in one sector or in one narrow index, of course you can get catastrophic changes like they had with the Nifty 50 in that former era. I don't see that happening when the index is 3/4 of the whole market. The problem is the whole thing can't work perfectly forever, but it'll work for a long time. The indexes have caused just absolute agony among intelligent investment professionals because basically 95% of the people have almost no chance of beating it over time, and yet a lot of the people expect that if they have some money, they can hire somebody who will let them beat the indexes. And of course, the honest, sensible people know they're selling something they can't quite deliver, and that has to be agony. Most people handle that with denial. They think it'll be better next year, or they just don't want to think about it. And it's a problem that investment professionals didn't happen in the past. And what's happening, of course, is that the prices for managing really big sums of money are going down, 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 20 basis points and so on. The people who rose in investment management didn't do it by getting paid 20 basis points. And it makes your generation of money managers have way more difficulties and it causes a lot of worry and fretfulness, and I think the people who are worried and fretful are absolutely right. I would hate to manage $1 trillion in the big stocks and try and beat the indexes. I don't think I could do it. In fact, if you look at Berkshire, take out 100 decisions, which is like 2 a year. The success of Berkshire came from 2 decisions a year over 50 years. We're hardly great. We may have beaten the indexes, but we didn't do it by having big portfolios of securities and having subdivisions managing the drugs and subdivisions. And so,
if we look at the stock market, 4% of listed companies generate 90% of the return. So most companies that we may think about investing in are likely not to do well for us. That's why the index is so important, is when you buy the index, you bought that 4%. And if you go pick stocks, you have 1 in 25 chance of getting one of those 4%.
You said earlier the punch card analogy of 20 things in the punch card, you've got to pick 20 in your life. If you only had 3 to 5 things that you would bet or back now, which I think is actually kind of what you do, what would those things be?
Well, I mean, so I'm trying to resist going to specific names.
Yeah.
Because I think that would hurt people more than help people.
Okay, that's fair.
What I would prefer that people do is focus on the other 2 variables, which is the amount you're saving and the length of the runway, and focus on the index. So I think that it's kind of like saying, I want to be a great AI developer because it's the way to be. Well, to be a great AI developer is going to take time.
What do you think about these people that day trade? Because so many young people, specifically men, are being sucked in by these adverts that you can day trade your way to wealth.
It's not good. I think it's the broker's going to make all the money. Robinhood will do well, not you.
Do you think anyone can make loads of money as a long-term day trader?
I look at it this way. If you study the Forbes 400, the 400 richest people in the US, in the world, actually, I don't see any day traders in there.
If you take these people doing some of those early trading by computer algorithms that worked, then somebody else would come into the same thing with the same algorithm and play the same game, and of course the returns went down.